A new company with a lot of history, GIS Engineering has rapidly grown its brand around an experienced team of professionals. GIS Engineering is a full-service planning, engineering, procurement, and construction management company specializing in coastal protection and restoration, upstream and downstream industrial, and transportation infrastructure projects. Putting people first, GIS Engineering, a new company with a lot of history.
Welcome to Going Public. I'm Jacob DeGate. I'm pleased to be sitting here with Executive Director of North Lafourche Levee District, Dwayne Bourgeois. Dwayne, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
All right, upcoming, it's almost summertime. That means the start of the hurricane season on June 1st. Can you tell us a little bit about what they're predicting?
Sure. Basically, June 1st, Sunday, this coming Sunday, begins the hurricane season until November 30th. NOAA put out a projection, and that's the first slide. I want to kind of talk about it briefly. Slightly above normal prediction for this season. So they've got a range of named storms, 13 to 19. Of those, 6 to 10 of those would become hurricanes, and 3 to 5 would be major hurricanes, which is greater than Category 3 or Category 3 and above. So this is a bit less than the 2024 season, but kind of to compare the numbers, if you want to put it back up, the named storms last year, they had 17 to 25, of which we actually had 19. For the hurricanes, they had a projection of 8 to 13, which we actually had 11. And majors of 4 to 7 storms, in which we actually had 5. So Colorado State University is another one that predicts these storm packages, and they did an early prediction in April of this year. Unlike NOAA, they use a single number projection. NOAA gives a range to kind of reflect the uncertainty in it, whereas Colorado State just picks a number now and then they redo it several times during the course of the season. So they picked 17 named storms, 9 of which would be hurricanes, and 4 major hurricanes in their early projection. I got another one coming out in June 11th, I believe. So the main driver of this is sea surface temperatures, right? That's where the energy, the engine that drives all of this starts. And currently, they're looking at something in the neighborhood of slightly above average temperatures in the seas in the Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America, I got to say it right, and the Caribbean, and actually normal temperatures in the Atlantic, actually in the Eastern Atlantic, a little bit below normal in some cases. So they're using that, and they look at the projections for the monsoon seasons in Africa, because a lot of those waves coming off the coast of Africa become some of the more severe storms. A lot of them stay in the Atlantic, thank God, but that's one of the major predictors of the storms that they use. And the other thing is the next slide, the El Nino Southern Oscillation, right? So what we have is a variation in the equatorial Pacific temperatures in the Eastern Pacific specifically, and we've kind of oscillate between an El Nino year and its evil twin, the La Nina year, right? And a lot of people we hear this every year, and you remember which one's good, which one's bad. And there's a way I remember it is actually this observation first started way back when, and like in the 1600s, where people in the western side of South America started noticing warm temperatures in water during the December, January timeframe. So El Nino actually was initially El Nino the Navidad, which is the child, specifically the Christ child. So if you want to know which one's good for us, that's the one, right? So La Nina is the opposite of that, and basically you got colder temperatures. And what this does is the colder temperatures in the equator basically allow for warmer rising air in the Atlantic, whereas El Nino was the opposite, and it forces dry sinking air, which isn't conducive to thunderstorm activity, along with wind shear, that prevents us from having a bad year. But in this case, there's something that's the third category, right? This year, we've got a 54% chance of a neutral condition, which is neither El Nino or La Nina. It's something that Jay Grimes, who's a state climatologist, basically calls La Nada, right? So nothing, right? It's something in the middle. But generally, you could say that an La Nada year is not quite as bad for us as La Nina, and but it's a little bit more than El Nino, probably in the neighborhood of 2 to 3 additional storms. So we're setting up for pretty active season, above average active season. Nothing like last year, but it's something that they're improving these forecasts, and they're improving their ability to forecast things. So we kind of need to pay a little bit more attention to some of those things as we move forward.
Well, certainly, and it all depends, I guess, where they hit to. That's the other location,
Right, right.
For us in Louisiana, you can get those 4 major storms, but if they 4 go in the same place, doesn't matter if they're 1 or more.
Right. It becomes a challenge for us, and they're better at that as well. The predictions 5 years out has improved. 5 days out has improved dramatically as far as their accuracy, the cone of error. But it really, 10 miles can make a difference, right? They've got it from. Like in 2005, there were 460 miles of cone of error in the 5-day period, and now it's down to 200. But that's still 200 is pretty broad. It can make a big difference for anybody locally.
It certainly is, and we need to take a quick break. When we come back, we can talk a little bit about what North Lafourche is doing to combat storm surge regarding hurricanes. Stay tuned for more right here on HTV.
Sea Level Construction is a heavy civil contractor that provides turnkey services for the industrial and marine industries. From building large-scale infrastructure to installing the foundation for expansion projects, Sea Level and its family of companies offer a wide range of capabilities, including driven piles, drill deep foundations, structural fabrication, structural concrete, marine construction, barge maintenance and repair, site work development, heavy equipment repair services, and electrical services. Call Sea Level Construction to set the foundations for your next big project.
Located at 5004 Imperial Drive in Houma, April and Iris is a must-see for those looking for exquisite home decor and gifts. Owned by April Boudreau, along with her talented design team, there is no lack of detail to enhance your shopping experience. April and Iris has all your decor needs.
Come in today and let us help you complete your design vision. It's what we do.
April and Iris, Homa's newest home interior and gift store, where decor and inspiration meet and fulfill all your design needs.
Terrebonne Parish School District is now hiring bus drivers. A valid CDL is required. If you don't have a CDL, we have paid training available. You must be able to pass a medical health exam and a drug test. Our salary range is very competitive with similar jobs starting at $26 per hour. Benefits include free health insurance and retirement. Contact the TPSD Transportation Office at 876-7400 or apply online at www.tpsd.org.
A new company with a lot of history, GIS Engineering has rapidly grown its brand around an experienced team of professionals. GIS Engineering is a full-service planning, engineering, procurement, and construction management company specializing in coastal protection and restoration, upstream and downstream industrial, and transportation infrastructure projects. Putting people first, GIS Engineering, a new company with a lot of history.
Welcome to Going Public. I'm Jacob DeGate, and we're sitting here with Dwayne Bourgeois, the Executive Director for North Lafourche Levee District. Dwayne, talking a little bit during the break about, Hurricane Ida. Of course, that's the big, most recent storm where it gave a lot of people certainly several challenges. Can you talk about the areas in your system where you had the most difficult challenges and which y'all are doing as a district to address those areas?
Yeah, I mean, following up on what we talked about, just a few miles different, right? Terrebonne fared pretty well with Hurricane Ida, all things considered, although they had some offshore winds that caused some problems internal inside the Morganza Basin, but Morganza, the Gulf Basin, I should say. But we had some specific areas that caught some flooding, depending on because of where the storm passed, and so that first slide, I think I want to just kind of touch base things. We have everything broken down into project areas. This would be the Lake Buff project area for us. And next slide, we had some flooding in the Zello LaRousse force drainage area. This is up in the Kramer area, believe it or not, right? So not very coastal, but what we had water from Lake des Allemands basically pour into this basin. We had some particular areas that we've now placed some HESCO baskets basically in preparation. I mean, we had funding coming for some additional work in this area, but it caught us. So right before Francine, we deployed a bunch of HESCO baskets. I think we got several slides showing that. But really what it amounts to, next slide too, you can show where we've got the HESCO baskets. So if something comes in this season, we're ready to close up the few gaps we've got in it and provide protection for that community. We're actually in the process of doing some additional levee work in the area when the storm hit us. But we should be able to button that up pretty quick. And we've got a permanent solution that we've received some funding for that should go to bid at the end of this year or early next year, which includes some sheet piles, some earthen levees, and elevation to the road in that area. So next couple of slides, if you will. So the Valentine East area, this is more specific LaRose. We had some challenges in that area as well. We're working on some levees in that area. But along the intracoastal, we had some flooding that came in. And so we've got some funding for our project that's outlined now. The bid documents are ready. We're trying to work through some right-of-ways, and we should be getting after some of that. It's a big project, but we're trying to do a lot of different things to kind of button it up. Since that time, we've completed some of the major levee work that we had in that area along the Blackwater Canal on both sides, the Eunice Alamoy area. So we've got better protection in place now. It's a couple of slides of the levees that were in work actually as Ida hit, but we're feeling a lot better about this system at this time. Next slide. Kind of just wanted to talk about the eastern tie-in, next slide, of the Morganza to the Gulf system. So we've got a lot of work, and this is on the eastern side of Bay Lafourche, and we're focused on this because it's part of the eastern tie-in of Morganza to the Gulf. So you can see from the intercoastal on the bottom right all the way up to the Raceland area, the top left of the graphic. We've got several projects being worked on at that area. Next slide. And because of that, we've had to rebuild a pump station because of interference with the project area. So this is a Ludovine pump station that's being replaced in LaRose near Hamilton Street, and you can see there's a lot going on here. So we've got two levee systems that are being tied together. So you'll have two pumps in relative close proximity to each other. We're going to have basically some improvements to the reservoir canal leading to that'll be completed before too long, and we've got these two systems tied in together, and so that's some work there. In the Thibodeau-Lockport Bayou Blue area, we've got what we call our Hollywood Canal project, and this proved out to be pretty good. So we've got two control structures in the Bayou Blue Hollywood Canal. That's one on the northern side, and the next slide will show the one in the southern side. So it's normally open. It allows water that comes from the intracoastal that backs up into the Hollywood Canal and Bayou Blue area to flow in and out as normal. But when we have an approaching storm, we can close the system up and start pumping and use some of the reservoir capacity inside of that whole area so that as rain falls, it can keep things under control. And we're happy with that system. It seems to have worked very well in Francine, and we've probably saved a lot of nuisance flooding in that area for Francine. Not that we had the type of rain that would have been the problem in that particular storm.
Well, it certainly can be, a complicated approach because you got, storm surge, you got the direction of the storm itself pushing winds from other locations, then you have rainfall. You kind of got to have all those things working together. So it's a lot of things, a lot of balls to keep juggling to get it right.
Right. And we're trying to stay ahead of things. I really think that if Hurricane Ida would have hit us a year later, we would have had not nearly as much flooding. We had several things working, but that crystal ball is just not out there to do it. We were trying to hit all of the areas that we were concerned, and the storm takes a certain path, and it's just not much you can do. When a storm of that magnitude comes in, I mean, officially a Category 4, but I think there was a lot of anemometers on some very expensive boats in Port Fourchon that indicated this was all for all intents and purposes a Category 5 at landfall.
It certainly was a big one, but all right, we need to take another quick break. When we come back, we'll discuss some more about the North Lafourche Levee District and another efforts are going on regarding flood insurance programs. Stay tuned right here on HTV.
A new company with a lot of history, GIS Engineering has rapidly grown its brand around an experienced team of professionals. GIS Engineering is a full-service planning, engineering, procurement, and construction management company specializing in coastal protection and restoration, upstream and downstream industrial, and transportation infrastructure projects. Putting people first, GIS Engineering, a new company with a lot of history.
In South Louisiana, storms are a way of life. Every storm poses a different threat, whether from flooding or hurricane-force winds. At All South Consulting Engineers, we help protect our people from these disasters. Before a storm, we work with our leaders to prevent catastrophic damage. After the storm, we help get the resources needed for rebuilding. We have helped our cities, parishes, and school boards recover over $2 billion to rebuild our community. We'll be here for the next one.
Led by a 7-member commission, the Terrebonne Port was created to assist our local industry in promoting economic development. We monitor government regulations that affect our local industry and work with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to secure maintenance dredging funds. Because the HNC is the main artery for the heartbeat of Terrebonne's economy, Terrebonne Port fights a constant battle for funding to maintain the federally authorized navigable depth. We are now leasing waterfront and non-waterfront property. Terrebonne Port Commission, serving our industry to keep Terrebonne thriving.
Sea Level Construction is a heavy civil contractor that provides turnkey services for the industrial and marine industries. From building large-scale infrastructure to installing the foundation for expansion projects, Sea Level and its family of companies offer a wide range of capabilities including driven piles, drilled deep foundations, structural fabrication, structural concrete, marine construction, barge maintenance and repair, site work development, heavy equipment repair services, and electrical services. Call Sea Level Construction to set the foundations for your next big project.
Located at 5004 Imperial Drive in Houma, April and Iris is a must-see for those looking for exquisite home decor and gifts. Owned by April Boudreau, along with her talented design team, there is no lack of detail to enhance your shopping experience. April and Iris has all your decor needs.
Come in today and let us help you complete your design vision. It's what we do.
April and Iris, Homa's newest home interior and gift store, where decor and inspiration meet and fulfill all your design needs.
Welcome back to Going Public. I'm Jacob DeGate, and I'm here with North Lafourche Levee District Executive Director Dwayne Bourgeois. Dwayne, talking a little bit about flood protection projects that the Levee District has going on in North Lafourche. Can you tell us, about some of the projects and the past successes that have gone on in the region?
Yeah, I think a good thing to look at is, Lafourche and Terrebonne have the Morganza to the Gulf system that's being built out right now. And the next slide kind of shows the big number of, I think we've got 22 navigational structures planned in the system. We've got 23 environmental control structures, and we've been having some benefits from this system. And I think that we're really starting to see those come online. The next slide kind of goes into, and it's a little bit more on the Terrebonne side, which is just a slide we've been using for a lot of things. But you can see going back in time to 1985, and you see thousands of homes, hundreds of homes, and look more specifically at Hurricane Rita, 2005, right? That was the same as the Katrina year. 11,000 homes flooded with a 9-foot storm surge. But then you move forward to 2019, you still have that 9-foot storm surge, and this time only 11 homes flooded, right? And again, they just caught us. We almost didn't have those 11. And since that time, we've had these 6 tropical storms in 2020. 2020 was an insane year, had 30 named storms in that year. But we were in the cone 6 times, and no homes flooded. 2021, Ida had no homes flooded in Terrebonne. That's great news. Hurricane Francine, no homes flooded, even though we had a record 11.5-foot storm surge. So we're making progress, but the question remains is, what's going to happen with flood insurance? I know the next slide just shows that, but it's just national flood insurance, right? We need to update it. So we're still in the process of trying to make revisions, but at this point, it seems like when it comes to FEMA, Trump administration has a great big hammer, and FEMA certainly looks like a nail right now. Okay, they formed a FEMA Review Council. It's headed by Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, and she did not mince words in their first meeting a week ago today, actually. So that group is looking at restructuring FEMA completely and taking it apart completely. And I don't think that that's a bad thing because FEMA was started actually in 1979 by a bunch of Southern governors and congressmen who thought, the federal response to disaster should be more organized. And since that time, it's just gotten to be a big bloated mess. But where does that leave us with flood insurance, right? There's a lot of questions on that. Right now, the directive of this council is to completely rip it apart and rename it, push away from federal emergency management to state emergency management, with the federal government providing financial support and backup. And I think that could be good for us with regards to recovery, but there's some things that are questionable with regards to flood insurance. I happen to think that we're probably moving into an area where this will be more of a privatized flood insurance. We'll have private market, which could do a better job, but there's still some missing pieces to that, right? There's a floodplain management standard and mapping, and currently Lafourche Parish is due to get some more maps, updated maps, but somebody's got to produce those maps, and it wouldn't be incumbent upon the private sector to provide those maps. So it's a question of how that gets in place. Those maps are basically used for determining who needs to buy flood insurance, and that's there to protect the financial institutions who have mortgages, have mortgages out in their portfolios on properties. So if you don't have that, then how do you do things? So again, there's a lot that needs to be sorted out. Louisiana is disproportionately impacted by changes to the flood insurance program, and we hopefully will be in a position to where things can get straightened out and not hit us this year. But when you look back at that previous slide with all of the benefits we've had, I'm thinking maybe, and I've started to have some conversations with others about this, it's time for the private sector to recognize that at least Lafourche and Terrebonne, bringing in maybe St. Charles and St. Mary parishes, we're not a bad bet, right? We've got some big successes here that maybe the private sector can come in and at least isolate our parishes and recognize that, these huge investments are paying off, and the investments that the locals have made, taxing themselves are paying off in flood protection, and that could get us reasonable rates while FEMA goes through whatever FEMA goes through. And, so we made some progress, and I just want to say that we shouldn't get complacent, right? I think we talked earlier, right, that these modeling projections of the number of storms and things per year are much better, but they're not everything. They're not there yet. 460 miles down to 200 miles 5 days out is a big improvement. But go back to Ida, 20 miles means that
Certainly.
just 20 miles means that Kramer doesn't flood. 20 miles the other way means problems in Terrebonne, right? And so I would just urge people to stay vigilant and don't get complacent, even though we've got these protections. Let the protections take care of the property, and you be responsible and take care of your own lives and families' lives.
Well, that's some very good advice, and we thank you for giving us an update on all that's going on in the region. We certainly thank you for the hard work that you're putting in.
Thank you.
All righty. Well, stay tuned for more right here on HTV.